Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a question that might just, well, turn some common wisdom on its head.
Oh, yeah.
Is morality simply a popular opinion? Just a reflection of the times.
Or is there something deeper, an unchanging truth about right and wrong?
Exactly. We often feel like there are these bedrock principles, especially about good and bad.
Uh-huh. Feels intuitive sometimes.
But what if our sources today challenge that? What if they suggest good and bad are much more shifting than we think?
That's a powerful challenge. And our mission today, really, is to cut through the noise.
Using just the sources we have.
Right. Exclusively from these sources to pull out the key insights on, well, the nature of morality itself.
So expect some surprising facts.
Definitely some surprising facts and certainly some, let's say, different perspectives on what makes something good or bad.
Okay, so what jumps out immediately from these sources? What's the core argument?
Well, it's a pretty bold assertion, actually. They argue morality isn't this universal, fixed thing we just sort of discover.
Not like discovering gravity or something.
Exactly. Instead, they present it much more as a social construct.
Meaning it's built by us, by society.
Yeah, heavily influenced by collective opinion, by the specific culture, the time period you're in.
And you mentioned power dynamics too.
And even more profoundly, by power dynamics. It really highlights how what's seen as good or bad often just aligns with, well, current trends.
Or even just convenience.
Or convenience rather than some absolute timeless standard.
But wait, do the sources completely dismiss the idea of universal principles? Because that feeling, that yearning for something fixed, it feels pretty strong sometimes.
That's a good point. They do acknowledge that persistent human yearning for universal principles. We often feel it instinctively,
Right.
But the evidence presented here, in these specific sources, strongly points towards morality being more of a construct.
Got it. So understanding these perspectives is pretty crucial then.
Absolutely crucial, especially, when you're navigating a world just brimming with diverse viewpoints, constant information flow.
It's a lot to sort through.
It is. Our goal here is basically to give you a shortcut.
A shortcut to being well-informed on this really complex and often, let's be honest, deeply personal topic.
Exactly.
Okay, let's really dig into this then. The core idea running through our sources seems to be that good and bad are essentially societal agreements.
Pretty much. A consensus, not some universal law set in stone.
It's almost like morality evolves over time.
Very much like that.
How?
Akin to how popular opinions or, trends shift in fashion or music, it changes.
And history gives us clear examples of this.
Oh, absolutely. What's particularly illuminating is how history shows this so clearly. Take same-sex relationships.
Okay.
For centuries, right, across most societies, condemned, illegal, often seen as deeply immoral, sinful even.
That was the norm.
That was the norm. But now, in many places,
Egypt.
not just accepted, but celebrated, legally protected even. That's a radical recalibration of a moral compass, isn't it?
It really is. And it's not just modern stuff, right? The sources look further back.
Oh, yeah. Rewind to ancient Rome, gladiator fights, to the death.
Public entertainment.
Celebrated aspect of their culture people flocked to watch.
Hard to imagine now.
Or think about medieval Europe, witch burnings.
Also public events.
And people genuinely believed they were doing something good, eliminating supposed witches.
Okay.
It's kind of chilling.
It's a chilling reminder of how deeply embedded certain beliefs can become, no matter how we see them today.
And those historical examples, they show just how flexible our moral frameworks can be.
But it's not just time that shapes them, right? You mentioned culture, too.
Exactly. Which raises a big question, doesn't it? If morality were truly universal,
Then why would it change so much?
right, or why would it take humanity, say, thousands of years to figure out that slavery was wrong?
That's a powerful point.
The sources really emphasize this. For centuries, slavery was normalized, perfectly acceptable across many, many civilizations.
Part of the economic structure, part of the social order.
It took generations of shifting opinions, of societal change, activist pressure.
To finally label it as evil.
Yeah. So if there's some universal moral compass, it seems like it was, well, broken for a very long time for a lot of people.
That thought really is unsettling. So history bends morality. What about geography? Different cultures today. Do the sources talk about that?
They absolutely do. That idea you grappled with in college, it's right here in the texts.
About whether anything's truly fixed across borders.
Exactly. They highlight things like, for instance, polygamy.
Okay. multiple spouses?
In many Western societies, it's often labeled immoral, maybe unethical, seen as exploitative,
Unless it's the
perhaps.
general view, yeah.
But in numerous African or Middle Eastern societies, it's a norm, sometimes even a religious duty, a sign of status, community building.
So completely different moral take.
Completely different. So when we ask who's right, maybe the sources are suggesting right is just what the majority agrees on.
Within that specific culture, at that specific time.
Precisely, within that context.
So it's not just evolving norms over time or differing norms across cultures. It's also about maybe who gets to define right and wrong. The power aspect.
That seems to be a crucial thread in these sources. They point out how the very same act can be viewed drastically differently.
Based purely on the situation.
Based on the situation, yeah. Take killing, for example.
Okay.
In wartime, a soldier killing an enemy combatant, often
True that.
praised, heroic even. They get medals.
Right. Sanctioned by the state, seen as necessary.
But outside that specific context, that battlefield, the exact same act taking a life is murder.
Met with severe punishment. The ultimate crime, in many ways.
Precisely. So morality flips based on context.
And maybe, more powerfully, based on who's telling the story. Who defines the rules.
That seems to be the uncomfortable conclusion the sources lead us towards. That morality might be more about power and influence.
Than some objective right or wrong we can all agree on.
Yeah. Those who control the narrative, governments, religious leaders, maybe the media today, they largely control what's considered good.
And the sources suggest that these narratives of good often benefit those telling them.
The research mentioned points that way, yes. That narratives of good are often influenced by who benefits. Which leads to this kind of situation where, well, what's considered moral is frequently what most people are just too afraid to question.
Wow. Okay. That's
Right.
a lot to process. And honestly, a little disorienting if you grew up thinking morality was this fixed set of rules.
It challenges some fundamental assumptions.
So pulling this all together then, our deep dive into these sources suggests morality is, well, really fluid.
Fluid concept, yeah. Not some universally fixed standard handed down from on high.
It's deeply shaped by cultural norms.
By historical context.
And critically, by who holds the power, who gets to define what's acceptable and what isn't.
And just remember those striking examples we talked about.
Right, the shift on same-sex
The
relationships,
gladiator fights.
witch burnings,
The long, dark history of slavery.
or even just cultural variations, like with polygamy.
All these things vividly illustrate how morality adapts based on context and, yeah, very importantly, based on who controls the narrative.
And who benefits from that narrative.
Exactly. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? What seems abhorrent to us now was once not just acceptable, but maybe even considered righteous.
Makes you wonder what future generations will think of our normal behaviors today.
Absolutely.
So what does this mean for you, the listener, navigating this world full of information, different beliefs?
Well, it prompts you to consider maybe how societal narratives or even just group dynamics, the people around you,
how they might subtly influence your own perceptions, your own sense of right and wrong.
it really makes you question, perhaps, what is truly good, especially when the sources suggest it's often just what most people are too afraid to question.
That is a powerful idea to sit with.
So it leaves you with an important question, really. Something to ponder long after this deep dive is over.
Which is,
Are morals just society's version of likes and dislikes? Just preferences that gain traction?
or is there a deeper universal truth you've yet to discover? Something beneath all the shifting opinions.
That's the question to mull over.
Keep digging, keep questioning, and stay curious.